Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. Strap into the party wagon and hold on to your pizza. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Epic Tales from the Sewers. I am your host, Justin. With me is my co-host, Mr. Eric Will. Say hi, Eric.
How y'all doing today?
Now, today we have a very special guest. Today's guest I was lucky enough to meet recently at C2E2 at this past August in Chicago. I happened across this table and I was drawn in by the giant picture of Captain Jean-Luc Picard in the artwork that I recognized from the Mirror War, which I got as a free comic on Free Comic Book Day. And it was an issue that I grabbed just a while back. I was then looking through the book and I saw that he had actually recreated the first two full pages from The Last Ronin. So while my head was spinning, I immediately took a picture and sent it to Eric, right? But our guest today is the very same artist that I met, Mr. Gavin Smith.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome to the show, all about
good to be
turtles.
here.
So, like I said, I was just so impressed looking through your art book. Like, one of the things that stands out specifically about your art style is that your turtles all had pupils.
Yes.
And it's something that you don't normally see. And it was just so refreshing. I'm like, this is cool, man. I like the way that they look. It's like a cross between like the movie style turtles and just like the IDW style, but it's such a fresh take and I really liked it.
Well, I really appreciate that. Like I like drawing them with the eyes because like I think I was kind of having this discussion with a friend of mine earlier about turtles and he has like I'm not gonna get too blue here, but like he has
you can, it's all right.
Oh, okay, well, like he has this theory that like people identify with characters if you either A, want to be them, or 2, you want to sleep with them.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily totally agree with that, but like I think and he doesn't see him. He was telling me he wasn't a Turtles fan because he doesn't see himself. He can't identify as a Ninja Turtle. And I was like, well, I can identify as a Ninja Turtle, A, being a brother, and their like unique personalities. So like and with that, like that's why I do like drawing their eyes, because I feel like each turtle has their own distinct personality, and I like to draw that through their eyes, as well as their body language in general.
Yeah, because you do lose a lot in the translation. Like when you see like a Wolverine or a Batman or something like that, and it sure looks cool when you're posing, but you can't usually see where they're looking.
Right.
And in Batman, that's like part of the design, but it's like also it's kind of like shorthand for it's just the mystique of what a mask is and such. So
I think it can work with don't get me wrong, I don't mind the blank eyes. Like whenever I draw Last Ronin stuff, like commissions or the variant cover I got coming out, we'll talk about it later. I don't mind drawing the blank eye because like it's specifically that turtle. It's Mike.
I don't think
spoilers.
He has pupils anywhere in that series.
Not in the series.
Yeah.
No. Like I think he I think only when he's unmasked and like in the sewer talking to April or something like that. Or is hiding.
Might be the flashback to when like the other turtles were talking to him at the end of that first issue.
They definitely have pupils whenever Bishop draws them. But anyway, I like doing it because it does give them a little bit more of an identity rather than just the blank eyes all around, because then they can kind of get lost in each other.
Yeah, and I mean in the recent books too, and of which you have just posted a cover for 134.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Where there's a Triceraton and it's on the cover. It's kind of got like this X-Men Days of Future Past vibe going on. But Sophie Campbell started that out where they had pupils, and each of them had they all kind of had like brown eyes too. And I was like, oh, I always thought that was kind of a missed opportunity where it's like they could do something different with each of them and give them different color eyes, but they didn't. And I always wondered why. I'll have to ask her if I ever get to talk to her.
Yeah.
So.
The 2012 turtles actually have the different color eyes. Like
they do,
yeah, because Raphael has like the red eyes and all that other stuff with the pupils and stuff.
I thought he had like green or something because Donnie has brown.
Yeah, green, yeah. Well, as I'm looking right now, the 2007 Turtles, this one right here,
Yep. Oh yeah.
they
Yep.
Yeah,
they had pupils and stuff.
And dude, that's a great movie. Like,
I like
It
to
was.
see still like draw like the mask like it's actual eye holes, like
Yeah.
very crudely cut out, so that you can still see a little green around them, and then you see like the eyelids and stuff like that
Okay.
as well. So like that the mask doesn't just perfectly form to the
Perfectly
eyes.
shape over their eyes. Yeah.
Right.
and I remember that as a kid having like those things, and I think my mom sewed one and all that, and she had to sew up around the eyes, and it was just so cumbersome. I'm like, this kind of sucks, you know. So I could see like the turtles just like cutting something, and it would be like jagged or whatever, like
Right.
Raph usually is. It makes much more sense than having something that's like finely tooled and sewn around.
Right.
It's like, yeah, that kind of gives like a weird sort of puffy vibe to it.
Right.
So yeah, I'm with you on that one. It just it doesn't quite make much sense, you know.
Yeah.
But
Maybe Donnie would.
maybe,
Meticulous. Yeah.
yeah. If that's like an aspect of his or an affect of his personality, I could see that for sure. You know, or Mikey would have something funny,
or maybe Leo because he's a little more uptight than the rest of them too. He probably want that avoid distraction. Probably
let's,
those two of any of them.
Yeah, you know, yeah, I could see that as well, because maybe he would want it to like be impressive to Splinter or something along those lines. Yeah, I could see that. Well, let's go back to the beginning. When did you start getting interested in turtles? Is this a new thing for you? Were you interested from when you were a kid, or?
Yeah, I was a diehard Turtles fan as a kid. Like I remember, I saw the 1990 movie in theaters, and I was probably 4.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, so I remember my dad took me to see that very vividly, and you know the first word out of a turtle's mouth was "damn," you know, and I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I'd grown up on the cartoon as well, so I knew the cartoon, but that first movie hit, and I was obsessed. You know, it was just stuck with me, and like it, you know, and it still holds up. Funny enough, when I got offered my first Turtles cover, I happened to be rewatching the movie.
No kidding.
I swear to God. Like, I couldn't make it up. Like, I ran up to my wife and I was like, you'll never guess what just happened. And she's like, what? And I told her. And she's like, wait, aren't you downstairs watching that right now? And I was like, yeah. So that was pretty funny.
And you'd been working at IDW at that point, right?
Yeah, so I've been with IDW, working with them about little over probably about 15 16 months doing stuff for them, so that started with I've been in contact with them for a while, and it was always just sort of let's wait and let's find out, let's see. So you know, if something came up, I was busy, or vice versa, and or they just didn't have anything at the time. But I had a good relationship with some editors there, and then finally the chance to work on Star Trek popped up, and I jumped at it. And it was a big series, so I just finished up doing 8 issues, which took me a full year to do.
How many pages do you have to do for your interiors? Like, is it 22 pager?
It's 20 pages, 20 page issues, yeah. So, but with Star Trek, it's a lot, because it's
a lot of dialogue.
Oh yeah, and it's funny because like ever since I've been working with Turtles, it's kind of the same thing, where they have to get approval from Nickelodeon, but with Star Trek they have to get approval from CBS.
Yep.
And those people, and it's a much more delayed process with Star Trek because they only meet once a week. And I found that Nickelodeon, whenever for the covers that I've done for Turtles, I've gotten back like super quick, which is nice. But like, yeah, and Star Trek is, you know, everything has to look like something like who they are. Like, you know, Picard has to look like Patrick Stewart. You know, the Enterprise has to look like the Enterprise, etc. So that process has been, it takes a little longer. So they usually give me about 6-7 weeks to do an issue of Star Trek.
What kind of reference materials do you use for something like that?
Google.
Just Google. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Google, but like also like all of Next Gen might not be on there anymore, but all of Next Gen was on Netflix.
Yeah,
so
it was.
Yep. Screenshotting a lot. From there, I ended up buying my own die-cast Enterprise, like
that's
small
perfect.
one. So I was taking my own reference of it. you can't really tell, but it's right. Hold on. There.
There it is.
Yeah, right next to the old Star Wars record tote.
Oh, that's
so,
fun.
Yeah, so I
have all the Hallmark ornaments.
Oh yeah.
Right, those. So I had been collecting those for years. So I finally got the Enterprise D,
Okay.
and that was like the hard one to find for me. But I mean, I got like all the ships pretty much.
Well, the funny thing is, so the diecast one I got, I had to get specifically the mirror universe one that J.K. Woodward designed for the series, which is great that they made a cast of it. But and they even like painted the Terran logo stuff on it as well, which was cool. But like, it's specifically the Enterprise D from All Good Things, the last episode of Next Gen.
Very cool.
So like, it's not the regular Enterprise. It's like got a different thingy.
Yeah, it's pre-generations.
Yeah,
it's
like
Cardassian.
It's like this, not this. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm sure I'm gonna get like yelled at by some Star Trek.
Oh yeah, no,
people
I mean
that like, cause like I don't remember what the thing is called.
There's certain things you can't do with like Star Trek fans. Like you can't put a mechanical component in the wrong place. They will lay you on it.
I know. I've seen the reviews.
It's NCSDF. It's like, oh, okay. So it's like, because I'm in like some Trek groups, and I'm like, I'm kind of a nerdy guy. I like stuff and I like minutia, and I'm like, oh, do you know who directed this episode? That's like how nerdy I get. Or I'm like, oh, did you know they were playing this song? But they're like, well, actually, did you know there's only 3 pieces of the forward and aft nacelles? And I'm like,
right. Nacelles, yes, yeah.
I'm like, you lost me. I also don't know how many pips a lieutenant has, or how many pips.
I know that. That's cool.
It's like, okay, so 4 for a captain.
No, I'm sorry. 4 is for a captain. 3 for a lieutenant, but I think it's.
See, I didn't know until you told me.
2 gold, 1 black. I don't know, something to that effect. Yeah, 2 gold,
so
1 black lieutenant.
I'm like, I don't know. I lost out on that. Like when was it Star Wars Trivial Pursuit came out, and my friend just schooled us. He's like, "Oh, you don't know how many stars Grand Moff Tarkin has?" I'm like, "Nope."
See, I might even be wrong on that too, because like, and I'm sure like I'm gonna hear about it at some point. Like, cause there was like one time. I mean, like it's funny. Like making comics is just funny in general, because like there's and this is something that came up in a review, and I kind of got roasted on Twitter by like a small Star Trek community. I was like, whatever, I don't care. But like there was
like,
something.
You guys want to see my check?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I mean, hey, this is my house, so
Yeah.
The gist of it was like I drew something in the beginning of issue 2, and then it showed up. The same ship showed up later at the end of issue 4, and I had completely like biffed the ship somehow, and that's the only 2 times this one particular ship showed up in the whole series, 8 issues. And like someone like started like roasting me about it on Twitter, and I was like, dude, you gotta realize that's like 8-9 weeks of my life that I didn't draw this thing. Like, so it's like I drew it, and it's only in 1 panel in each issue. So it's like I drew it 1 panel in issue 2 at the beginning of the issue, and then go through, finish up issue 2, finish up all of issue 3, get through most of issue 4 to get to that 1 panel again. And it's like, that's like 9.
Who's to say they didn't retrofit it? Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah, right?
That's what happens.
It's funny. That's comics, though.
Dude,
that's showbiz.
It's like The Simpsons, where it's like, how come when Itchy is using Scratchy as a xylophone, you could clearly see him hitting the same bones, but he made a different sound? They're like, don't you people have lives?
Like, there was literally, like, I almost, like, I censored myself, but I almost replied with a GIF. It's like, well, I hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Which is the same scene that you're referencing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like, oh man, like what's the expectation? It's like, oh, I'm sorry, we're not like a $1 million production company like Paramount who doesn't make mistakes. Right. Oh wait, have you seen the first Star Trek series? It's like, I don't know. I don't know. That's crazy.
It happens. It's all good.
and we'll just continue briefly on the
Sure.
Star Trek. You had told me a story about actor that was on Star Trek that actually stopped to look at some of your artwork.
Yeah.
Would you mind just telling us about
I can't pronounce
your
his name.
Ferengi?
I'm not great at it, but like there was um I was on at the Indiana Comic Con, which is about 5 minutes from my house. I live in Indianapolis, so I was there, and I was I was actually working on pages at the show because it was a local show, so like I wasn't like going all out for it. I showed up with my banner and just a couple portfolios and just sitting there working. And I look up and there's Quark, and I just kind of, hey, just what's going on? And we got to talk a little bit. He like, I gave him a copy of, and it was literally like about a week after the first issue of Mirror War came out. So I gave him a copy, signed it for him, and then he took a picture with my banner and stuff, and he sent it to
they all hang
the
out.
cast. Yeah. That's what he told me. He's like, I'm sending this to Frakes, I'm sending this to Marina, and I was like, this is wild. So apparently they've seen it, and I've yet to meet anybody else from Trek yet, but I know there's a couple shows coming up.
I swear, like by a week or 2 weeks, you missed Frakes because he was there. He was there at Fan Expo before C2E2, and it was 2 weeks prior.
Well, I was at the Fan Expo in Dallas, and the way Fan Expo has their guest artists set up, it's almost like a ring around Artist Alley. So like, there's I don't want to call them amateur artists, but like the not I guess not published artists.
Up and coming.
I guess so. Yeah, like
you know what? That's
more,
very
more
generous
like
the
people not getting published by like the big like 7 or 8 companies that exist.
Yeah.
So like so we're on the outside wall, and there's Artist Alley, but behind our ring, I guess like a horseshoe, is the curtain, and that's kind of where they moved the celebrity. Probably shouldn't tell everybody this, whatever. But like, it's where they like move the celebrities around to get them to like the panel stages and stuff like that. And my buddy Josh Hickson, we were sitting by each other. It was me, Sue Lee, Josh Hickson. We're all hanging out all weekend, but like Josh went behind the curtain to take a break, and he just kind of pops back his bed back. He's like, "Hey Gavin, you just missed your boys." It's like Data and Riker just walked by, and I was like, So yeah, they didn't get a chance, but oh well.
Oh man, they're gonna love your stuff when they see it. I mean,
I think I'll meet them in Columbus in December.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's in your area.
Yeah, where you at? When in Columbus?
When? Columbus in Ohio.
When?
December, first week of December. December 2nd and 4th.
First week of December. All right.
You got time?
Yeah, I got plenty of time. Yeah.
It's gonna be a good show, I think.
Where's it going to be at? Because that's like literally 45 minutes away from me.
Oh, I think at the convention center. It's GalaxyCon.
Okay, GalaxyCon. Okay,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, all right. I'll talk to my wife. We could work something out.
That sounds great.
That's gonna be really cool.
I don't know. They might be in. I don't know. I'll also be at the Cincinnati show in September as well. So actually, it's this month. I'll be there in a couple weeks.
Wow, we're there already, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy. We were just talking to some folks maybe a couple weeks ago about Granite State, which is happening, I think, next week.
Yeah.
So, or it's already happened if you're listening to this later, but that's fine. So we just know it's supposed to be great, and we're looking forward to that one. But
yeah,
that's pretty cool. So we already asked. So you've got a history with turtles. What did you get your start with collecting turtles? Were you collecting like the action figures? Were you into the comics?
Yes and yes. I mean I was too young to get the original Eastman Laird comics. By the time I was, I think, aware that they existed, they were probably well done at the moment. So but I remember getting like the Archie issues like that were coming out. But I was also getting a lot of the figurines and watching the cartoon and stuff, and watching the movies as they came out. So I saw every single Turtles movie in theater, even 3, which has its moments.
I remember seeing like the the preview for it, and he's like, "You were expecting the Addams Family," and I was like, "Oh wow, I got to see this," and I just never got to see it in the theater.
Yeah,
you know, and I wanted to, I just never had the chance.
We had a small theater, so it was only like 2 movies at a time in my hometown. I remember, I think movies were $1.50 back then.
Yeah, the
$1.50
movies.
Christ, I sound
yeah.
like
I remember seeing like oh man, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot or something like that. One of those, and it's like probably around the same time, maybe a little bit after that, but like just that's the type of movie that you would see there. It's like you're like, well, I think we saw like Dragonheart,
Sure, yeah.
Oh my gosh, Dragonheart.
I haven't seen that in a while, right?
Mm-mm.
That's pretty cool. David Toulis is in that, so that means nothing other than just he's pretty good. So.
Yeah,
and he was just on Sandman. I guess that's why I was
okay.
About him, so.
Yeah,
I was big on the Archie ones myself. That's actually what hooked me on the Turtles.
But it was funny because like I have like I was getting them, but I was never like collecting them regularly because we had back then we had this little drugstore. I grew up in this small town called Peru, Indiana, Circus City, capital of the world. Amateur Circus City, capital of the world. Anyway, there's a little drugstore called Hooks that I would go into, or like a Kroger, whenever my mom would grocery stop, and they'd have comics on the magazine rack still. So I was like, anytime my parents were running errands, I'd find a way to get to the magazine stand.
Oh yeah.
Or if they went shopping, came to Indianapolis and did some shopping or something, I'd have them drop me off at Borders, and I'd go to the comic section, and I'd sit there for hours and just read.
Oh, that's cool.
That's how I read Crisis on Infinite Earths the first time.
Oh yes,
it's really that. So
we'll come back to that one. So.
Sure, yeah. But it's just like I've always been a big comics guy, so like I'd want to read and digest as much as possible. So yeah, I'd read a lot of those, and then I kind of, I guess, fell out of comics. I guess when I was like in junior high and in high school, is rock and roll and girls got in the way. So
oh yeah.
So I mean, I was still drawing and stuff.
We can all relate to that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So
I mean, I'd still be wearing my Batman shirt in the mosh pit at a Metallica concert,
right.
But it's like we didn't really have many Turtle shirts back then. But
right.
I totally get it.
There was like maybe like one kid in my high school that I could talk about comics with, because I'd still do the same thing in high school. Whenever like, we'd go to visit grandma or something like that, and on the way back, my mom would stop in Indianapolis. I'd still go to Borders and stuff, and I'd still go read comics. So, but yeah, I didn't, like collecting comics and liking this stuff wasn't cool in 2000, 2004. It just wasn't.
Dude, it wasn't cool in 96 through 99 either.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you.
It was fine for me to like it, as a up until like about till I got to junior high, and then
actually may not be cool now that I think about it too. So
but it's literally it's pop culture now. I mean, it is it is the entertainment. Like every all TV shows and movies are based on this shit that we've liked and
grew up with.
Like and almost were like ashamed of, because like this is not stuff people liked when we were growing up.
Yeah, Marvel, DC, all that stuff. I mean,
it's wild to see like this revisionist history of people saying how much they love this stuff as a kid, and it's just like I don't believe you.
Oh no, I used to get ripped on. They're like, "Oh, you like the Ninja Turtles? I'm gonna call you Splinter." I'm like, really? Like that's dumb, but cool.
Yeah,
like all right.
So it's funny. It's whatever. But yeah, it's. Anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent there.
It's okay. That's okay. I'm going to go back to something that you said here. So you mentioned Crisis on Infinite Earths. And
sure.
I feel like if there's an influence on your work, it has to be George Perez.
Perez is huge, actually.
Because when I see your artwork, it's so close. It's just like, it looks like his style.
That's a Perez right there.
Wow.
That's a Perez Kid Flash.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm a big Perez guy. I love Perez's work.
I think most of our listeners probably know George Perez from the Infinity Gauntlet, from Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I mean, like, he's one half of the
Done
creator
it
of
all.
Deathstroke, the Terminator, the new Teen Titans. I mean, all of that stuff. So it's like Perez is a legend.
Yeah.
And he did do a Turtles cover for that 100 project that they did for Hero Initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So he has touched the property, and unfortunately he passed away maybe about 4 months ago now of cancer. So it's a very, very sad loss. But
wonderful guy. Got to meet him a handful of times. Probably only really talked to him once. Like the couple times I did get to meet him was obviously that.
That's cool.
But like every other time it seemed like I was in a crowd with him, so like it was just sort of like he was kind of holding court and I got to kind of be around that, which was cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But like what a sweet guy he was.
Great guy. Are you a big DC guy then? Because I mean, okay, all right, me too. So
yeah. We were saying before we got on air, I was a big Justice League guy growing up. So I think it really started with again, like you get dropped off at like Half Price Books, Borders, or something like that, or the drugstore, whatever. I'd be reading. Started with Morrison's run, which is the first like series I became a regular collector of, because like I think at that time I was just kind of getting comics intermittently. There was a comic shop in my hometown called Bears Cards and Comics, which unfortunately no longer exists. And I'm finding it hard to find people who remember it too, which is kind of crazy. But I remember it very vividly. But I started getting Morrison's JLA run. I think started with issue 5, and then so right after the first 4 issues, and it was the first appearance of Electric Blue Superman in JLA.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but yeah, and then I got the.
I don't think that was his idea, but I think he was working with it.
He made it so cool.
Oh yeah,
that was the brilliance of it.
And that's one of like the biggest things in comics where they're like, Superman Red, Superman Blue. It's like, yeah, but read the Justice League, because it's like between that and Zariel and the really cool Aquaman and
Zariel was great. And, and I love that they incorporated Zariel into like future stuff that they wrote. So like Zariel was in Final Crisis, and
I think he was in Infinite Crisis, and I feel like I saw him in either Metal or Death Metal.
Oh, probably.
So
I haven't read those, but
they're fun.
so I've kind of making this stuff. It makes it hard to get a chance to like read, like keep up with like continuity. So I'm reading a lot more independent series lately because of it. Anyway, so I was a big DC nut, so I started with Morrison's run, and then I started collecting Satellite era Justice League, which I love. I still love that stuff. And one of my favorite issues is a Perez Shaggy Man issue, and I think that was my first. I think it was the second time they fought the Shaggy Man, and it's got a cover of like Batman fighting Shaggy Man on a rocket that's heading towards that's taking off.
That's pretty crazy. And, it's like fighting Chewbacca, basically.
Yeah.
Just like the Shaggy Man was like
unstoppable. So I love that. I love JLI stuff a lot. We were talking about JLI a little bit earlier. Like that stuff is great.
That's my jam right there. I have like a shrine to Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your screen name is a Booster Gold.
Yeah, it is.
So, I got to at Fan Expo in Cleveland. I had a really cool experience where I went to dinner with a bunch of artists, and Kevin McGuire was one of them.
Oh, nice.
And that was really cool in general. But
the king of facial expressions.
And that was like I got to talk to him about that, which I thought was cool. But I got a kind of a it was kind of the kid at the table. I'm 36 years old. I'm still the kid. So but I was kind of the kid at the table, and I got something that kind of get like we were talking about just like moments in comics, and he's like, if you can just get like one moment in there, and that could define your whole career. And I go, yeah, man, all you just need is one punch. And he just kind of looked at me like, that was cool. And I was like, yeah. And,
wow.
So that I thought that was a really cool moment. And it kind of made him chuckle too. And I was like, cool. Yeah, well, it's like, and it's like, cool. This guy that's made me laugh for years, I got to get a laugh out of him. So that was good.
Yeah, I got to have a conversation with a couple greats. One of which you've already worked with,
Yeah.
Mark Waid.
Oh
And
yeah.
my specific questions for him were about like Kingdom Come and where was Booster Gold and
Sure.
all that. So I was just like, oh,
he
what
was he
what
was
was it like
around, I
working with
think.
Mark?
Easy. I mean, it was we did a 6-page story in this anthology called The Good Fight. Um, and it was really cool because I've known Mark here and there because he used to live in Indiana for a bit. So
Oh, no
we'd run
kidding.
into each other at conventions and say hi. We did a couple of signings where we got invited to the same signing, and so he knew who I was. Excuse me. And yeah, I mean, it was really easy. Like, he had a script ready to go. It was airtight. So, like, he just kind of let me do my thing. I turned it in. It was like, looks great. Boom. And then, I mean,
Nice.
like, everything about that gig, I think it was only like 5 or 6 pages. It just was a breeze. So, I mean, the
That's like
colors,
working with like if you were to put it into terms of like sports, right? That's
yeah.
like working with like the top Cy Young winning
It,
pitcher,
well,
and
like,
you're catching and you're
it,
like calling it, but everything's like
oh, it was so easy. It was like Jordan, Pippen, Rodman.
yeah,
Because
exactly. Okay,
it's
that's a
like
better one. Yeah,
There we
if
go.
Wade's Jordan, then like I'll take Pippen, and then our colorist was Chris O'Halloran, who was
yeah, that's
Rodman,
another
and
really
it
good
was man, and Bernardo Bryce, who's a great letterer, he brought it all home, and it was just one of the
yeah.
easiest jobs I've ever had.
I'm
I
just
mean, it
in
was
awe on
challenging,
that. You
but
know,
like because it was a very heart tugger of a story. So, and it was the last story in the anthology. So if you can get it, it's called The Good Fight. Um, it's out there.
you think it's on Comixology?
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Okay, but
Um,
I definitely recommend people to get it. I'll read it. The Good Fight
I
I
think
had
if you
on here.
Google it, there's a way to order it through the. Jeez, Adam. Oh, he's gonna kill me. I'm so bad at remembering things on the spot like this. Uh,
Well, in your defense, you had no idea the conversation was going to go here. So
right, Adam Ferris, my friend
okay.
Adam Ferris. Yeah, you can get it. It's super easy. I think he has it on his Etsy shop. Just
Oh,
look up
nice.
the Good Fight comic. It's like $15, and it's full of like killers. Like I think Gabe Hardman's in it, and J.H. Williams. Maybe not Gabe Hardman, but I'm pretty sure J.H. Williams is in it. I got it over there.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, what about your book? We were talking a little bit. You had a book that you brought out called Human City. Can you tell
Sure.
us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I only did one issue of it ever, but it's pretty much the reason I'm in comics now. So I was a student at the Joe Kubert School back when Joe was still with us. So I actually got to be taught by him. So our third
That's
year,
great.
yeah, man, what an experience that was. That was awesome.
I still I remember when I think Andy had to finish up the art on Night Owl for the Before Watchmen
So
because Joe had just passed.
so Andy was drawing it. Joe was inking Andy.
Oh, no kidding.
Sienkiewicz came in and finished Andy.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, he finished Andy's pencils because Joe passed away in the middle of that run. Yeah.
And by the way, that's another legendary turtle artist is Bill Sienkiewicz, who is just a
Bill's great.
living legend. So
Still great. Yeah, Bill's a really cool guy too. I got to sit next to him once at a convention. What a guy.
my head might explode.
Yeah. Oh.
You know,
Well, we
just
can
be
talk
like,
about. I'll get to that. We'll
Yeah.
get to that. So Joe comes in. It's our first day, or that's like our second day, because we had the way the school is set up. It's 5 days a week, 2 classes a day, 10 classes a week total, and set up like high school hours. So you show up at 8:30, go till about 3, and homework.
that's intense.
Oh yeah, homework every class, and it's Tuesday was Joe's day. So he pops in Tuesday morning. We're the first class to have him, and then he teaches the afternoon class, which is across the hall. But he pops in. He's like, "All right, not all of you are going to get jobs with DC and Marvel, so you need a backup plan." And so we're going to make our up our own ideas. So I need a cover and 5 pages of pencils by next week. And we're like, Jesus fucking Christ, Joe. We've got 9 other classes. Like, you know, like, and like, this is like the second day of our like 3rd year, which is
my idea is called Sergeant Stone.
Yeah,
and,
right.
It's about an army guy,
Right.
World War II, who.
Well, that had me like kind of like I had the name Human City kind of in my back pocket because I'd been in a band with some friends and we called it Human City, and it only lasted a couple months. So I was like, all right, this name's too good. I'm gonna keep it. So
it's a pretty good name.
Yeah, I liked it. It was so I did this like this kind of like a mix of like a lot of things right now, and it was kind of my excuse to draw everything. So it was like this post-apocalyptic last superhero. It was very much like Lone Wolf and Cub and Mandalorian before Mandalorian was a thing. So this was back in 2010. I started making it in Joe's class, and then after I graduated, I came home. Like we did the first 5 pages. We had to pencil 5 pages and do a cover, and then the next week it was inks and letters, and the next week colors. So I had 5 pages and a cover ready to go, and then afterwards, after I graduated from the school, we had our DC and Marvel interviews, and those were cool. Like I got an email back from DC. They wanted me to do test pages, and my mindset at the time was like,
no thanks.
Well, I just spent 3 years at the Joe Kubert School doing nothing but test pages. I was ready to make my own comic, and you know, the best way that I could think of to get work making more comics is to make a physical comic book that I can put in people's hands. I mean, it's one thing to show people that you can draw the stuff.
Oh yeah, of course.
But it's another thing to put a finished product in their hands and be like, yes, I can get it done. I can deliver this. So that was my mindset, and I probably should have done those samples because, like, I actually went to email that guy back about after I finished my first issue of Human City, and he was gone from the company. That could have been my break into DC. Oh well, whatever. Yeah, that's fine. You know, I've been doing just fine for myself. Anyway, so I made my first comic. I wrote it, penciled it, inked it, colored it, lettered it. Used like the last $300 to my name at the time to self-publish it. I was working as a waiter and doing graphic design for this local mom and pop newspaper here in Indy. And then, like, whenever I got every free moment, I would work on Human City. Got it out in the world. Debuted it at C2E2 in 2012. So this past C2E2 was the 10-year anniversary of it.
Wow.
Yeah. I probably should have done something for it, but yeah. So I put it out, and then like there was like a string of conventions that I did, like 6 weeks in a row. So I did C2E2, I did, I think Gem City Comic Con, I did Pittsburgh Comic Con, I did like Louisville or maybe St. Louis, something like that, like kind of in that area. Motor City was around that time as well. And then I ended it with like a gallery show here in Indianapolis where I put all the original pages up on the wall and had people come in on a first Friday. And it was super cool. And then when all that kind of calmed down, I started to put together what would be the second issue. And then I never got around to it because then I got hired by Blue Juice Comics, who at the time was Upstart Company. And they hired me to draw a series called The Accelerators, which I spent a long time doing. So that was...
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have a desire to go back and do that eventually, or you think that you've moved on from the idea?
Human City?
Yeah.
It always, every once in a while, kicks back in my head to like maybe do it again, but then like I said, around a couple years ago, The Mandalorian came out, and they literally did like some of the ideas that I had.
Oh yeah, so
which is like fine, like they weren't like revolutionary ideas. I was doing ideas that Lone Wolf and Cub had, so it was and that's fine. Maybe I'll get around to it and I'll just retool it, and like if I did it at this point, I'd completely revamp it, because it's it's 10 years later. I'm a much better artist than I was 10 years ago. And at the time when I did Human City, it took me 6 months to make one issue of Human City, and it takes me 6-7 weeks to make an issue of a comic now. That's
wow.
That's the
Oh,
difference. And
that's
like,
a huge difference.
and it's
Yeah.
and the quality is much better too. So, um, yeah, I would want to redo it, rewrite it, redraw it, maybe hire a professional letterer because I'm not the best at it. Like I had like,
It does make a difference.
yeah, like I kind of did the bare bones version of lettering. Um, I would probably, you know, do it in color this time because I did it in black and white originally, so I was gray toning it digitally. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I would do a lot of things differently now if I were to come back to it. But at the same time, like I've moved on to other creator-owned projects as well. So after did my run on Accelerators, past couple of years, I have been working on a book called Dead Legends, which is like kind of the book I've always wanted to. Which I think this will resonate more with your audience, Turtles fans, because it's a martial arts book. And
Yeah, I was looking at that, and I wasn't sure if that was Bruce Lee on the cover.
Nah, it's
or a Bruce Lee like analog.
Sure, yeah, it's very much in that same vein, where I grew up with these martial arts movies, where I was watching like Enter the Dragon, and
Oh yeah,
Bloodsport, John Van Damme movies, Bruce Lee movies,
dude,
whoever.
I just saw that they
Deadly
have a
Venoms,
sideshow
yeah.
collectible, right? That came out of Frank Dukes from Bloodsport.
Oh,
right?
I've seen that. It looks
It's
so good.
$2,500.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
It's like
That's
it's
such
humongous.
a stupid amount of money that I
I don't know. Like I would have that, and there's the Bolo Young too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When,
I'm like, oh, I would get the Bolo before I get the other
right?
one. But still,
It's so
just
tempting.
Ooh.
But anyway, I wanted to do, my martial arts tournament movie. Well, but in comic form.
Like
and
a Kumite.
Yeah, and I had a couple characters in my back pocket, and I had an idea for what the story was, but I knew I wasn't the right guy to put it all together. So I there was one night, there was, this is the quick and easy version of this story, but like, my friend James Maddox and I were going to do a story for this very, at the time, established series from a major publisher that we kind of got the runaround on for like months, up to over a year, and now it's been about 8 years since all that went down. It never got published, and like we did all the work. And it's such a cool story that no one will ever see. Anyway, can
you tell us what character it was around? No, you can't. Okay.
No, it's a little too damning.
Right.
So anyway, and I don't need to drag anybody. It was just that's literally comics. It happens all the time.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
So, when we were at the time, James and I were pretty upset about it because like this was supposed to be like our brick, and we were just sort of like, and it happened again, like with a different thing as well, like literally twice in a row, and we fell for it each time, and both times didn't happen. So we were just sort of like, yo, we obviously like working together. Why don't we just do our own thing? Like we put together with these two projects enough for like a full comic book. Why don't we just make our own comic book? So he's like, well, what do you want to do? And we were at a convention in Louisville, and I had just come back from dinner. I was working on commissions, and we were just, drinking and talking shit. And I was just sort of like, I want to do this martial arts tournament book, and I telling him like, I've got these characters, a little bit of a story, but like I need you to make all my batshit crazy ideas make sense. And he was like, yeah, I can do that. And we started putting it together, and not much longer later, we had a great script. I started drawing it. It flowed so easily. And like the fight scenes, like he was trying to write the fight scenes, and I was like, just stop writing the fight scenes.
Yeah.
Like give me like the breakdown of how many pages I have to do a fight, and like give me like bullet points if there's any like story things that I can do, but I'm gonna write the fight scenes. So like I'm technically a co-writer on this, definitely a co-plotter, but we consider me like a co-writer because when it comes to the fight scenes, I am like playing jazz.
It's choreography.
Yeah. You're telling the story by drawing.
Yeah, and but we are co-creators. It is a very fluid, I guess, collaboration. Like it is very much our idea. Like it started out as my idea and became our idea. Like he's created characters for it that enhance the story that I never would have thought of, and like came up with things that I never would have thought of.
That sounds really cool.
And yeah, and vice versa. So,
do you have any characters that are based off of like maybe someone from like the Turtles universe or anything? You'd be like, I always liked how Leo did that thing, or Donnie does this, and I think it's cool.
Not necessarily. Not Turtles. I don't know. There's a little bit of I guess there's a character named Barbosa, who's a little bit got a little Michelangelo in him, and I mean that as far as like he's almost got like he's a little bit of the comedy relief, but he's got heart as well, which is what I really like about Michelangelo. Like he's definitely the one that feels like this is a little deeper than I think the surface level that's on.
So I'm with you on that, and that's kind of something that's always been about the character. It's like as much as he jokes around and all that, like he's definitely the heart.
He cares a lot. Like I think they all care in their own way, right?
Some show them more than others.
Right. And that's what is so great about Turtles, that each one has unique characteristics. But Mikey, I think, cares a little deeper for people and humanity.
He's maybe even part empathic a little bit too.
Yeah.
Where he kind of feeds off of that energy and
right.
like and tries to like outwardly change how others are around him, and whereas like Raph will affect everybody in like a negative way, Mikey will try to do it positively. And
right.
He tries to bring everybody together.
Yeah.
And Raph is kind of and it's funny, like I always say this when talking about Turtles, like I would hang out with like who would you hang out with the most is like a question you get sometimes, and it's like I would hang out with each of them on depending on what mood I'm in. If I want to talk shit, I'll go hang out with Raph.
Yeah.
If I want to have an intelligent conversation, I'll go hang out with Donnie. If I'm trying to get a project done, probably Leo. Like something like that. Like like somewhere like Leo's more driven, I think, than the rest. If I want to have a good time, I go hang out with Mikey. And
good time.
Well, which turtle would you start a small business with? It's like,
Donnie for sure.
I was saying the exact same thing. Donnie.
Donnie's the numbers guy. There's a lot.
We're all wrong.
He's the numbers.
Yeah.
It's a food truck, and I have Mikey in the back cooking.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
It's terrible. Pigeon pizza.
Raphael doing the butchering.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, exactly.
Raphael's doing a lot of the grunt work. Yeah, like it's like, all right, go get the ice out of the basement.
Leo's the front of the house.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, he's managing the staff and hosting and all that. So and Splinter's not allowed to be seen because it's like Ratatouille.
like Raph and Casey Jones are like the short order cooks. They're just like
oh my god, that'd be great.
No, Casey's on dishes.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, I love a good Raph and Casey moment like that.
In the back. Everyone in front can hear you. So.
Dang it, Casey! You broke another glass.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh man, that's part of the fun of the show too. Is I'll actually like read through the stories and the voices and all that.
Cool.
And Casey and Raph are so close. It's just like that little tiny difference that you have in them. It's like out of everybody, they seem the most like brothers to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny, and I like I'm gonna read probably the only like non-indie book I'm reading right now is Turtles. And I'm reading through the IDW run on Comixology, and I'm about where am I at? I'm closing in on where Rat King comes in, so I'm in the middle of Dave Wachter's run right now. So like when they're visiting all the entities and stuff like that. Where was I going with this?
I think you're in the 70s, right? So it's
about I think 82.
Okay, so you're just past the Triceraton War.
Right.
Okay, cool. Yep.
So like I think City at War is coming up, and closing in on issue 100.
Didn't it blow your mind that like Tom King did all, or not Tom King, Tom Waltz did all of this? Just like from issue 1 all the way through issue 100. It's like no one's done that since like Chris Claremont. And it's like
I mean,
that's a lot.
I mean, Snyder did
a
lot about
Snyder
did
all of about Eric Larson, I suppose. Eric Larson still going at it. So
I mean, the next closest person would probably be Snyder on 52 Batman.
He did a huge run from 2011 until Rebirth.
Yeah. And then Tom King, I guess, on Batman currently.
I will stand by the Tom King run. I loved it. So I thought not everybody does, but I did.
I fell out of it because like I was just reading, like I'm working so much. So, I have them all. I have not read them all. But
there's little human moments in it where it's like Batman and Superman are hanging out and they're like, oh, I bet I could throw this ball, so fast that he can't hit it, and it's like stupid stuff like that. And I'm like, that's exactly where I'm at my age, where it's like they're on a double date with Lois and Catwoman and they're trying to like just talk shit to each other. And I'm like, dude, Double Date was amazing. Like those little moments like that in the second annual where, they talk about like how Batman met Catwoman and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, those human moments define a character.
Oh yeah.
And I love that kind of stuff. And Snyder stuff is so good. I mean, I know you said you hadn't got a chance to read Metal or Death Metal or anything like that. Right. Metal's very good, and Death Metal is off the wall crazy. So it's like,
all right, nice.
It's if you like Sergeant Rock, he's a zombie in it. So
okay,
and there's a dinosaur who's also Batman.
All right,
so, it's a little crazy.
Okay,
that's fun
because I know there's a Sergeant Rock series coming out soon that has him as a
zombie. Sergeant Rock. Just written a story by Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I think that's actually coming out this month, if it's not already out by the time this is released. But our listeners are obviously going to know Bruce Campbell from Evil Dead, Ash vs. the Evil Dead, all that stuff. So I imagine if you like the same stuff I do, you probably love that stuff. So, let's see. So your next issue that you have coming out is number 134. I think we're just about there. That's got to be released this month, right?
I think it comes out in November.
Oh no. Okay, so we're a little bit further.
It was announced in this month's previews. So, yeah.
It looks fantastic. I've seen the original artwork. It's really cool.
Thank you.
It's the story is basically there's the youngest Triceraton has been born for the first time in like 50 years or something like that. Right. And in a very kind of Superman play, they're sending her to Earth to get her away from, all of this kind of like Game of Thrones stuff that's going on between the Utram and the Triceraton Council and all that. So it's like some really high stakes stuff. And the only people that they can think of that they know who are honorable that will help her are the Turtles.
Yeah.
And right there on the cover, right? I believe it's Raph, right? That's on the cover with her?
Donnie.
Oh, it's Donnie. Okay, so Donnie's on the cover with her, and she's kind of hiding, and it's as I mentioned, it's very like X-Men, Days of Future Past, like hiding from Sentinel kind of stuff. It's really kind of fun.
Place in the middle of Armageddon game as well, so it's like I think Tom Waltz posted the checklist of like what to get in what order, which since I've been reading all the IDW stuff, like they're so good at that. Like everything, especially like those big hardcovers they put out. Everything is in order the way you need to read it, and sometimes you're just like, oh man, I don't know if I need to read Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles crossover. Like, is it really important? And then you like find. I feel like those are words, you have to read that shit because it's important to the main story. Like it all comes back around. It's kind of crazy. I mean, I love Ghostbusters, but I'm like, why would they team up? And then it's like, oh, there's a very key thing for Turtle, like the main series.
Well, it's funny too because I'm not a big Power Rangers guy, but they had an amazing crossover with the Power Rangers.
Yeah,
like and it was a huge deal.
Yeah.
So I mean, it may not be my jam, but I'm gonna read it.
Have you went to go brush your teeth yet? You need to, okay?
I can't wait to read that. And
it's okay.
Now they're coming out with a sequel.
Yeah. So But yeah, so I know that my first cover comes out during the middle of Armageddon game, so they wanted me to they gave me a prompt for my first one, and then they asked me to do a cover for Armageddon game for issue 4. So they said like it can kind of take place like they gave me parameters, but like my next cover is probably my favorite of the bunch that I've done for them so far.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you get to play with any characters that you wanted to bring in?
I get to play with all 5 turtles, which is great, and then Rat King is on the cover as well. And I'll describe it, but I can't show it.
Yeah, no worries.
Yep. It's Rat King kind of lording over him, and then like all the turtles being attacked by a swarm of rats, and I drew like 1 billion rats on this thing.
Oh wow!
Like there's like and each turtle is fighting them their own way. Leo front and center, and then like the rest of them kind of like almost like a flying V in the back, like sort of like fighting. And
now, do you make subtle differences with your turtles? Like, do you put like a scar on Leo's eye? Do you put like a crack part for like Raph to tell them apart yourself? Like, do you have any little idiosyncrasies?
Facial expression stuff, like how they would react to a situation. So like
that makes
Leo's a little bit more determined. Raph has got a little bit more rage in his face. Jenica is a little more disciplined. Donnie, not so, like in the way it's reacting, it's like they're just being swarmed, right? So Mike's freaking out, and Donnie is kind of like a little intense, but like still like present in his facial expression. So I try to work their personalities in their facial expression. So like I don't do the scar on Leo's eye.
Not everybody does, and
yeah, does he?
It shows up every once in a while, and I think it's from Koya when they fought like way back in like when Andy Kuhn was doing it, like maybe issue like 15 or 16 or something like that. So and she's the Falconess, so she I think caught him by the eye and scratched him. And
I was reading, I think when I did that cover, I was on the Secret History of the Foot Clan. I was reading that. Yeah. So there was a big Leonardo gets cut on his arm moment. So I did put a bandage on that arm.
Cool.
So like as a little, there it is. I guess Easter egg.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned before when we were talking about Last Ronin, Ben Bishop.
Yeah.
We're big fans of Ben Bishop. We actually met through the Bish Kids and all that,
cool.
So we're in his club.
I haven't had the pleasure. I was trying to meet him at Heroes Con, but he had to pull out. So.
Oh, that stinks. I know he's going to be at Granite, so and
okay,
that's a couple others coming
big
up.
show. A lot of
That's his stomping grounds, pretty much.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I mentioned Ben is because we know that he has done like some little Easter egg type stuff. Like he put Kino in there from the second movie, and like all kinds of aliens references, and Peter and Laird, and all that. Like he slips that kind of stuff in. Have you ever done that with some of your art, like slipped in some Easter eggs and things that maybe like only you would know?
Yeah, I think there's in Dead Legends, like in the main character's room, we do a flashback to our main character Yan. So like it's kind of like in the crux of the story, like where to go back a little bit, the gist of Dead Legends is a woman's husband gets killed by a blind tiger, is our main villain of the story, and she has to enter the tournament to get revenge against Blind Tiger, but she can't just straight up fight him. She has to run the brackets in order to get to him. So anyway, we do this bit in the beginning where right before Blind Tiger kills Yan's husband, Ishii, they're in bed, just got done doing the nasty, but you see like a down shot of their room, and there's a poster on the wall, and it's a Human City movie poster.
Oh, no kidding!
Yeah.
Oh, so that's cool.
I do that. There's stuff like that. There's, like, and sometimes I just do stuff that makes me laugh. Like, in the cover I just described for the Armageddon game before, like they're swarmed with rats, right? My favorite rat I drew on this thing, and there's like a million rats on this thing. You might not notice it unless I tell you about it, but there's a little tiny rat that's coming out of the back of Raphael's pouch. like it's like a pouch on his back. There's just one little tiny rat that found his way in his pouch, and he's just popping out like going, "Hey," like so stuff like that. I'll
Pouch
do.
rat.
Yeah, those are the two I can think of off the top of my head.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I gotta look for that.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And you mentioned these they're both gonna be retail exclusives or
retailer incentives.
incentives.
So yeah, so it's like a 1 in 10 or 1 in however many. I think 1 in 10. But then I am doing a retailer exclusive Lost Year's #1 cover with my local shop, Comic Book University. And that'll be, coming out day of release, which I think is December 7th.
That's good because I'm not sure that they've given us like a solid release date on our end.
Yeah, it just came out in this past previews, I think.
Yeah, it was like December 6th or December 7th is when it's supposed to come out.
Whichever one's a Wednesday.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, with the last run and everything, I expect even more pushbacks. I probably won't. You probably won't see it until next year. That's just me.
Well,
I'm not mad about it.
Not either.
So the pages you saw from me, the last Ronin pages you saw, were a tryout from IDW. That wasn't me just doing it for fun. So that they had asked me to do it. I think I was trying out for Lost Years. I don't think I got it. I'm still in touch with them though, kind of figuring out. Who knows? Who knows what the future?
They're awesome. But like so good, and like a distinctive style.
I posted
so
them on my Twitter.
It doesn't
today,
look like it. It looks like, oh, this is the action, this is the scene, like scene for scene, but it's not like you copied the exact style. No, it's your style, which is so great.
I mean, I did have the benefit of having the issue in front of me, and what they did. So the tryout, what they asked me to do is they send me Eastman's layouts. So I was working directly from those, and then I changed things up on my own, which was kind of cool in its own right. But yeah, so like I had. I mean, the storytelling was there. It was already done. I had to add like little bits here and there to make it my own. So that was cool. So that, like I did that back in. I posted them on my Twitter today. So if you're on here, you just check the bottom here.
And anyone watching can go to the bottom of the screen where it says at Gavin P. Smith.
Yeah,
so,
and it's
like I'm gonna check this on Instagram right now.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I posted a panel from it on Instagram.
Well, I know he sent me pictures of your stuff, and I was like, my jaw hit the floor, and I'm like, because, I mean, I do have some stuff.
A couple things.
Nice.
Yeah.
That one right there that you see is actually Mike Roos issue 5 cover.
Okay, cool.
He had actually Justin has his issue 4. And I also actually have Mike Roos issue 132 cover 2 as well.
Oh, is that the Shredder
the big with the big old Shredder helmet.
Yeah, I saw him post that. It's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's got to be coming out soon too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And shout out to Mike Ruth and Hugh Rookwood, man.
Oh, he's great. I think we follow each other on Instagram. He's really cool.
Yeah, they're really, really, really cool guys. I'm personally a good friend of Ruth myself.
Oh, cool.
And like me and him, he sends me all kinds of turtle stuff. So
nice.
I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah, right. I wouldn't imagine.
I just about lost my mind when I saw you drew Dark Claw. Like boom, because I've got that comic framed up here next to my Blue Beetle and my signed Ninja Turtles comics and all that.
I don't
like Wolverine and Batman mixed together.
I love the idea of the amalgam universe in general.
So good.
So like I wish that was more of a thing.
There is no reason they couldn't continue this. Like there's no reason they
right.
Everybody would make money on the deal.
Right.
Yeah.
I would love that. Like I try to like anytime like it shows up as like I think the last time I drew him was at the Lexington Comic-Con.
Was it a commission?
Yeah, so that was a commission. There's another time I've drawn Dark Claw. I did a Inktober I don't call it Inktober anymore, but like I did a Battober in 2020, and like so I was doing all these Batman related ones, and I did a Dark Claw. So
that's cool.
That was fun. So any chance I can get to draw those characters, like please bring it on.
Oh man, I know you got the Kid Flash up there. Yeah, Lobo the Duck, Speed Demon would be a cool one. Part Spider, part Flash, Spider Boy, and I mean the JLX.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of them are just great. Like great characters. Doctor Strange Fate.
Yeah, Strange Fate was good. Super Soldier, did you say that one?
Yeah, Super Soldier, Amazonia, I think, which was like Storm and Wonder Woman mixed.
Yeah.
The one that really got me was Dark Claw, because like then you've got the Joker mixed with Sabretooth for the hyena.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, that's a frightening character.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
I love that they did the animated series version of it too.
Yeah.
Like, and they were all one shots to be continued, and then nothing.
It's sad, but it was such a great period of time, and
it was.
I'll tell you one thing: when I met Ron Mars, and of course, the one thing that you shouldn't do when you meet Ron Mars is mention the one thing that he has to talk about every day of his life for the rest of his life. So about this Wolverine and Lobo match, you know,
oh
it's
my
like
God.
every
I was
day
so bummed about that.
Every day of his life, he deals with this, and I'm
really?
like, I'm so sorry.
I figured he probably got more heat from Heat.
Well,
he Hal's Emerald Avenger team or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, he gets a lot of like Green Lantern stuff and all that, but he says like far and away #1 is, you know, the 4-panel story that he did, you know, with Dan Jurgens, or I think it was Dan Jurgens that did the art for that, and it's Lobo versus Wolverine. They go under a bar, and then they get up, and Wolverine wins, and he's like,
his cigar. It's Lobo's cigar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I did get to I know Daryl Banks. Like Daryl and I get along really well. I see him at a lot of shows. He's a Midwest guy too. So I actually got to sit next to him at a show one time, and like I was a big Green Lantern fan as well.
That's cool.
I love Kyle Rayner. So like I got to sit next to him and like talk about you know, how much shit he got from Hal fans back in the day. The girlfriend in the fridge thing, like it's great.
Yeah, well, I mean, that wasn't probably his idea, so
no, but
you know,
I won't give away all of Daryl's secrets on here, but like he told me it could have been worse. So
oh geez, okay,
yeah.
Well, I mean, wasn't that a Morrison storyline?
No, it was Mars.
Oh, it was Mars.
Yeah,
okay.
it was like it was right after Kyle took over, so it was pretty quick into his run. I think like probably by issue like 52, his girlfriend was dead. Like,
wow.
Because Kyle took over in issue 50, and I think Hal went rogue, became Parallax. There was like Zero
It's
Hour.
crazy. I was just thinking with all these Star Trek books and all that, you know, they did a Green Lantern Star Trek crossover. You know, that would be an ideal place to put you, you know, for something like that. That would be so cool.
There's so many things. I got to meet. You guys should get a kick out of this. So I did a Star Trek convention in Chicago back in April. It's ran by Reed Pop, who does C2E2.
It was really expensive to get in, so I didn't go.
I believe it.
It was like $350 for tickets. So
was it really?
How much?
Yeah, it was absurd. You know, and it was like 3 days tickets, $350, and then you get this.
That was probably like VIP stuff, right?
On
like
top of that,
stuff.
you would pay for VIPs.
Oh my God! Okay.
Well, that's the thing. You're Star Trek fans, right? You know, it's like, oh well, I'm a civil engineer. Oh, okay. Well, you can clearly throw this money around to go hobnob with Shatner. That's fine.
So, yeah. So there was this bit where I got to, whenever I worked on Trek, I never talked to CBS. I talked to IDW. So like IDW kind of acts as like this middle man, I guess, for lack of a better term. And it's usually like Heather Antos is my editor, and she's
cool.
She's amazing. Heather's awesome. So
great artist too.
Yeah, Heather's great. In many ways, great person in general. So Heather's kind of like my shield, for lack of a better term. She kind of she gets everything on our end, and she sends it to CBS. CBS gives her notes, and it's delivered to me in one nice package, so it's not like I'm talking to like 4 different people, which I think it is, like 4 or 5 different people that kind of comment and give notes on the issue, and she condenses it into one email for me, so it's nice and easy. And obviously, like IDW has and Heather have their notes as well. They're like, okay, change this, and then Trek wants this. Great. So they're like, for I up until that Trek convention, I think I was drawing issue 5 or 6 at the time, and I had only known the ominous Trek. It was just like, Trek wants this. So like, I never met these people, and then I got to meet some of them at the Star Trek show, and I was just joking around with one of them, and I was like, like, what are the chances we can get, like, there was that toy line back in the day of Ninja Turtles as Star Trek figures. Like, what are the chances we can make that happen? She's like, never say never if we can make it make sense. And I was like, I kind of like,
wow.
So that would be very cool too. I'd have to I don't know how. I'm not the guy to make it make sense, but I want to be the guy to draw it if it happens. So
yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I want to see it first, okay?
Yeah.
We want to see it first before anything happens, before you show anybody else.
Right.
We want to see it.
All right.
Well, you could do the turtles not just as like, oh, this is what they look like on Enterprise, or this is what they look like on DS9, but you could also do them as aliens, right?
Right.
Like, here's Donatello as a Borg.
Well, that was kind of the toy line too. Like, I think they did. I mean, like, not necessarily like Leo as Spock, but it was like Leo as a Vulcan. So it could work. I don't know.
I absolutely think it would work. And Playmates has, they had like all of that stuff from, like, Michael Dooney did the art for him, and then they had Varner Studios, who are still doing things today.
Right. I think it's a matter of making things make sense within like current continuity that they've got going on. So especially with Turtles, like, because I think they do like to make everything make sense with their line. Like, every crossover matters.
It's different too, because it's not like Marvel where you see Turtles on like, oh, well, here's like a little thing to put inside your lunch bag, and it's going to be on the bag, and it's going to be on your backpack and all that. It's not like that.
Sure.
It's still special, because it's like, when you get Turtles, it's like when the 2012 series came out, it's like, yeah, you could get all that stuff, but it's not like that now, where you go into like the school shopping place and you're like, oh wow, another Captain Marvel eraser top. It's just so watered down, but it's, to me, it's special. And if they can do something like that, like they're doing with these Universal monster figures from NECA, those are pretty cool, and that's kind of like a special deal. But this is like a second renaissance for Turtles, man. I mean,
it really is.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's
got a movie coming out. It's the hottest selling comic book of like the last 3 years.
There's another movie coming out.
Yeah, there's a movie coming out exactly a year from August 8th, I think.
Is it not a continuation of Michael Bay?
No, it's Seth Rogen's version.
Seth Rogen, and there's supposed to be a live action, which guys from Saturday Night Live are doing, and
Mr. Scarlett Johansson, Colin Jost. So,
and they're coming out with another turtle game. They're supposed to be doing.
Sick.
Give me more Shredder's Revenge. I want more.
Think it's going to. No, I don't think it's going to be like that. From what I'm hearing, I want to say it's like already. I've seen a little. I kind of glanced the article a little bit. I need to look into it some more.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that they do kind of a Ronin game, like
Arkham
Asylum type deal.
That would be insane.
Be sick. Yeah.
And you can have a motorcycle for motorcycle level.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I mean, just me personally, like I've been playing the Arkham City Batman games. Like,
yeah,
Arkham Asylum, Arkham City are like my 2 favorite Batman games. I love those games. 100% the Arkham City one. Like, I think if they did the Ronin and like they did like 1 part, 2 part, I mean they can make a bunch of money off of them, because I'd buy every single game. I mean,
yeah.
For the love of God, I got 28 games. I got Xbox games right now. That
Did
only
you
hit on
buy the
Xbox.
remake that just came out last week of all
I
the
got
games?
I got them a
week before everybody else.
I got them a week before everybody else.
Wow.
I have this, and I have the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna be honest with you, I got hooked up with this. They gave me a really, really good deal.
Nice.
Long story. I paid $50 for 2 of these. One was a Nintendo Switch, one was this.
Nice.
And I actually do have the collector's edition coming.
Right. Nice.
That's really cool, man. I've been playing it nonstop, and the gem of that for me is I don't know if you guys have tried it, but there's the third Game Boy game. It's like
Radical Rescue.
Radical Rescue, man. I have been playing the hell out of that.
Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet. I got
that game is hard to get.
I got Shredder's Revenge. But
it's so good.
Yeah, it was fun. It's funny because Shredder's Revenge is like. Have you guys played Streets of Rage 4 yet?
Yes, I have.
Oh, I love Streets. Like I play that
cool.
every day. I play the survival mode every day.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, have you tried that yet?
Yeah, I have played it. Yeah,
it's a gauntlet. Yeah, it's awesome. So like, if you get Shiva, and you can get going on that, you can turn into like God mode with Shiva.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because like if you just keep getting the jumps. And like I don't know, like because you get the power.
I'm kind of like a Blaze lifer, so it's kind of tough for me.
Yeah, Shiva fucking rules on that game because if you can do the jump, you can do his dash attack, and then from midair in the dash attack, you can jump, and he does his 4-hit combo in the air.
Is
and
he
you
the
can
cop?
keep that going. No, he's the ninja. He's the dude that was like the ninja guy that was like Mr. X's number 2.
Oh, all right. Yeah, because I'm thinking of the guy who's the cop, who his daughter is the one that's in there with the hammer, or whatever she has. I thought that was Shiva, but yeah. No, that game's amazing, and it's just so any game like that, and like Shredder's Revenge, where it's like you can play a level. So I can I'm like, oh, I'm just tired. I want to just play the zoo. Okay, so I just go and I play the zoo, and I'm like, this is why I like video games, to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can just go on and like, all right, I gotta go make dinner. But I had 6 minutes where I could just beat the hell out of ground chuck and
see that was my problem with survival mode, and like where I was like, all right, I'll just play till I die, and then but now I'm like really fucking good at it. So it's like now it's like a 2-hour like event when I sit down just to do survival mode because I can just keep going, and I'm like, oh man. Like, am I going to get past level 57? I think I can get that far in it. It's kind of gross.
Eric's a way better gamer than I am.
Yeah.
I've only really been good at like 3 games. The original NES Nintendo game for Turtles.
Right.
I'm excellent at that game.
Whoa!
Just beat it. Beat it the other day.
That crazy one.
Yeah.
Where it's just that's like impossible to do.
Yeah. I'm good at that game.
Okay.
I'm good at Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
All right.
And
yes.
And geez, I don't know, Vagrant Story. Like something else, like some RPG or some garbage.
Right.
But it's like I'm not good at a lot of these games. I can beat them, but it takes like a lot.
Right.
But man, I love having like stuff like that to go back and play, and like Streets of Rage is like so inspirational because it's like it's just that feeling. Of playing that side scroller, and it's like
Double
being
Dragon
in an arcade at home.
Yeah,
but they did it so much better than Double Dragon.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
A Bobo Who. Yeah.
Right.
Double Dragon was like one of the first ones I played, so you know.
It's crazy because like the story with Streets of Rage could be so good. It's so bare bones. Like they barely it's literally just an excuse for like a side scroller. Fighting game. Like it's like there's like. The bones for a very good story are there, but I feel like they haven't told it.
I mean, it's also kind of almost exactly Golden Axe, like in the future.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Like I would love if the chance ever came up to do Streets of Rage comic. Sorry.
Oh, that would be a cool one.
That's like that's kind of fucking.
Who do you think has the license for something like that?
I have no idea.
That sounds like an IDW thing.
This is
or
not
maybe
the
like,
first podcast I have set this on. So
maybe Devil's Due or something. That'd be another one. Or
I don't think
if Oni's still around.
Oni. Oh.
Yeah. That was a joke. I was serious.
Oni. Well, I think Devil's Due exists
in
some form.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I knew a guy who did some Sonic comics not that long ago. So like
those get surprisingly deep.
Or not Sonic. He did something very Sega, and it was kind of yeah, and it was like sort of. I think it was specifically for Sega too. So I'm like, all right, that would probably be the person to talk to as far as Streets of Rage.
Hyperstone.
That was my jam. I loved that game.
I think that might be the best one, to be honest.
It might be. It was so good. My brother and I would fight
comparing
that game.
To what's the other one? Comparing that to Turtles in Time.
Turtles in Time.
I really liked Hyperstone Heist a lot.
I liked it too. I remember my buddy, he rented it, and I was like, "There's a turtle game on Sega? Are you kidding me? Let's go!"
This was actually my first time playing it last week. So
the Hyperstone Heist one.
Yeah.
Wow, that Hyperstone. My brother and I would get in fights because like we would just fuck with each other. Like we would like he'd be low on life, and I'd just steal his pizza before he gets to it.
Oh no!
Did
you have a designated?
Me and my son go back and forth on that when Turtles in Time, big time.
Yeah.
Be like, he's like, I got one less life than you. I don't care. I need the pizza.
Yeah.
There, if you hit like on PlayStation, if you hit that middle button, there's like extra mode where you can actually play in God mode if you want. So there's different things that you can do that, and you can look at the strategy guide, and they have like cheat codes on some of them. So it's like if you ever get to like look at the other parts of the menu, it's like, oh wow, there's actually some really interesting stuff.
So much. I'm going to tell you the collection. I did not realize how much they really put into this game.
Yeah,
and they put a lot into it between showing us the comic books, the different covers. I mean, they went all the way from the IDW series.
Oh yeah, dude! Like every single Mirage cover's on there. Like the 5th version of the first issue, the 5th printing.
Like, and it's just like, and then they did the boxes for the games, the Japanese version and the American version, and also the manuals.
Yeah,
they went all out. Which, I got a couple manuals right here.
Nice.
I just need boxes for these two.
Oh, that's cool. And that's it's got Armagon, so that's what, Super Nintendo?
Yeah, it's Super Nintendo. I got the only one I'm missing for Tournament Fighters is the NES version, which is
I had that. It's so unimpressive.
It's so unimpressive, but yet it's so rare and expensive. That's like my my grail of
that would be a cool character to bring in, and I hope that's one that comes into the IDW series is Hothead, who's the is kind of like an anthropomorphic dragon that he turns into a giant kaiju, and it's just a guy who's a firefighter. It's really cool. So. Well, with that, I don't want to keep you too much longer because we've already been going for a while here. This is a great conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you like people to interact with you the most?
Twitter, Instagram, either of those. You can find at the bottom screen here.
Right at the bottom of our screen. So.
Facebook, I keep because my mom's on there.
Yeah.
But she's not on Twitter and Instagram, thank God.
So you can post those Dark Claw pictures so mom can't see them. Yeah.
So, by the way, those some really good good Ronin covers. I mean, commissions as well as issue 134. Those are pretty nice. I just seen. You see me like this, and while you guys were talking, I was looking through them. So
nice. I'll show you guys the secret stuff when we're off the air. But
cool.
Yeah.
And folks can look forward to your Armageddon game cover and issue 134 and the upcoming Lost Years cover. So that's gonna be I'm gonna be looking for those.
I'll make a big deal about it on Instagram and Twitter when it happens. I'm currently in the midst of trying to acquire as many copies of my 134 cover as possible. It's gonna be hard because it's 1 in 10. So get out and get there, and I think the same with the Armageddon game. I'm going to try my best to get as many as possible, so if you see me at a convention, you can get it off me. But when my Lost Years cover comes out, I should have plenty of them. So
that's cool.
But it'll be limited to me and Comic Book University to get them from. So
nice, and we'll try to get a link to Comic Book Universe up there when we post the episode as well.
University.
Comic Book University.
Yes.
All right. Okay, I got it. All right. So that makes a big difference. So
yeah.
But otherwise, I will be back with our pizza recipe, the BLT. And I will have that in our episode. And for all the folks watching on YouTube, thank you, thank you very much, and enjoy. And we will catch you next time on Epic Tales from the Sewers.
See y'all later.
See you guys. Thanks for having me.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for, and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.